Hello, tribe. So it's a new month, which means a new journey. So I felt that it was just natural that the next thing after the sacred pause journey would be the yes journey. So the practice of yes, of allowing, of being with what is, of letting go of resistance. It's such a beautiful meander from the heart journey to the sacred pause journey to the yes journey, because there's really, with gratitude mixed in there, because there's really so much power, especially right now with everything going on. There's so much freaking power in our ability to pause, to bring our gentle mindfulness to what's going on, what's happening, what is, to find our feet, to feel into what is here, and then to allow, to say yes, to see, can I be with this? And so this yes journey is hugely influenced and inspired by Tara Brach, by this book, Radical Acceptance, and by her many talks. This practice, yes, is I heard from her. And so it's so powerful, because I think we can all, first of all, intuit that when we are in resistance, when we're fighting, when we're saying no to life, when we're saying no to how we're feeling, when we're saying no to our circumstances, we feel small, we feel victimized, we feel contracted, we feel oppressed. We just don't feel very good. And right now there is so little we have control over. And we have this reflex, like in uncertainty, I need to control, I need to be able to do something, to make something. And I know for me, especially right now, there's a lot of should. I should be able to be handling this better. I should be able to figure this out. I shouldn't be feeling that. They should be different. Anytime that there's so much resistance and so much shoulding in it, so much shoulding, so much of saying no, it just creates unneeded suffering, and it blocks us, it keeps us from love. I mean, think about how your heart feels when you are defended and protected and trying to resist and say no. It's held, it's tight, it's not open, it's not allowing. It keeps us from creativity. When we are super blocked and in that narrow judgmental vision, or in that self-blame, or that beat up, or whatever, there's not room for creativity to flow through us. And it keeps us from wisdom. We can't really tap into, this is how I actually feel. This is my truth. This is what I want. This is my intuition of what I should do. We're cut off from that. And I think that it goes so well with what we just did of practicing, okay, pausing, seeing what's here, and can I let it be? Can I be with it? So the guidebook is officially done and out there. It's free. It's 30 pages of love, pure freaking love for you. And it begins with becoming aware of how we say no. Because if we're not aware, some of these ways that we say no are so subconscious, so we're just we don't even know. And so it's as Carl Jung says, what's not brought to consciousness comes to us as fate. So it's really important for you to begin to become aware of the ways in which you say no. No to how you're feeling. No to what you're experiencing. No to life. The ways in which we resist. And also being clear, sometimes when we don't know so much how we resist mentally, we can feel into our bodies. We can feel, am I tensing against life? Am I held? Am I contracted? Am I fighting reality? And so I go into next what yes is not, because sometimes the word yes, it's the same as acceptance. It gets, a bad rap sometimes, because it's well, you want me to say yes to oh yes, I love this feeling of being a piece of crap and shame and all this stuff. It's not saying yes. Yes doesn't mean that we like it. Yes just means it's acknowledging what is. We're not fighting reality. We're not fighting what we're feeling. We're just, shame is here. Yes to the feeling of not liking it. Yes also doesn't mean we're saying yes to a person who's being, brutal to us, or that we're being or in a dangerous situation or any of that. It doesn't mean that we're saying, yes, please abuse me. We're saying yes to how we feel about it. Yes to what we are experiencing. And it's also, there's this idea, and I get caught in this too, of if I say yes, if I accept how I feel and where I am and what's happening, I won't get better. How many of us can like relate to the never-ending self-improvement project? So I always offer the invitation then to reflect. Does that self beat up and like rigor, is that effective? Does it actually make you better? And we'll look and we'll be like, we'll actually know it causes a lot more harm than it does good. And there's that beautiful quote by Carl Rogers where he says, it wasn't until I accepted, I'm gonna butcher it, it wasn't until I accepted fully where I was in the moment that then I was free to change. So it's not until we meet ourselves exactly where we are, right here, feel what is, say yes, allow, surrender, and then we can shift, we can transform, we can heal, we can change, we can move from there. But first, you have to connect, say yes, meet yourself there. So yes is radical. Like, this is not a time to like beat yourself up when you realize, oh my God, I say no to life and no to myself and no to my feelings 98% of the time. No is natural. No is what we do. Yes is possible. And the possibility that yes, like the gifts that yes give are vast. They're life-giving. Love, creativity, wisdom. There is so much that opens up for us and in us. There's room, expansiveness. So much more is allowed in when we allow what is, when we just step off the battlefield, put down the armor, and just be with what is. And I'm not saying that this is easy. This is not freaking easy. But I'm saying it's possible. And so the guidebook goes into the gifts, then the guidebook goes into how we say yes. Because this is not also another way to like shoot an arrow and like plummet and like do, yes, yes, yes. It's a gentle yes. It's a receptive yes. It's an allowing, surrendering yes. And it has to be kind and compassionate. So in the book Radical Acceptance, Tara Brach talks about 2 wings of acceptance. And the first is mindfulness, just being present with what is, what's here. And then the second is bringing kindness and compassion to it. And those go hand in hand. It's not like one or the, like 2 wings of a bird. You need both of them to fly. And sometimes it is really hard to offer compassion to ourselves. Sometimes we can feel so regressed and so small and so stuck that there's just no freaking way. When that happens, we can call out for compassion. We can imagine a figure. We can imagine someone in our life. We can imagine warmth, light. We can feel Mother Earth holding us, calling out for compassion. There's that quote, prayer is the bridge between longing and belonging. John O'Donohue. So there's, when we can't offer ourselves, when we feel like it's just too hard, we can call out and let our love, let our longing for love fill us and see what happens. In there, of course, is a loving note to make sure that you're doing this at your own pace with your own support, because any time that we're being embodied, when we're here and feeling what is, we need to tread lightly. Sometimes it's not the time to be with. Sometimes our yes is to our no. Not right now. I need to go for a walk. I need to move away from this raw feeling. And that's okay. But I also invite you to notice if it's true, because we get in the habit of thinking we can't handle things. I don't have the capacity. I can't. And what we'll find sometimes when we do lean in or move towards just a little bit in this moment, oh, I can hold that. I do have that capacity. I can feel this. It's not as big as I thought it was. I go into practice saying yes. You know, there's this beautiful poem. I'm just going to read it. I'm going to read it because I love it. So it's by Pesha Joyce. Yes. Finally, on my way to yes, I bump into all the places where I said no to my life. All the untended wounds and red and purple scars, those hieroglyphs of pain carved into my skin, my bones. those coded messages that send me down the wrong street again and again, where I find them, the old wounds, the old misdirections, and I lift them one by one close to my heart, and I say, holy, holy. So you can sense how much healing can come from this simple practice. It is a very challenging practice, but it is also, in my experience, the most freeing. So freedom, it's kind of worth it. So yeah, and then I just wrap up with infusing this with your own practices. I highly recommend doing this in tandem with the Sacred Pause journey, or the heart, like using it to infuse whatever practices you already have and to see where that takes you. I think that the possibilities are endless when we begin to say yes to the life that is here. So yeah, that's what I have for you, is the new journey, and I highly recommend, like, check it out. It's 31 pages of love sent right to you, and let me know how it goes. I think that sharing is caring, but it is, like, it really is. I think that during this time, like, we so need all of the tools and the practices and the connections and the just resources that we can reach for. And I think it's a beautiful time to share this type of stuff with others, because we get an opportunity right now to connect on a deeper level in our relationships. There's a lot of loneliness happening right now, and loneliness can happen when you're surrounded by people, when you're not able to be fully seen and be yourself and connect in a deeper way, in a more intimate, shared vulnerability way. And so stuff like this that dives into stuff that's deep is a beautiful thing to share with someone else, because all of a sudden things become less personal. It doesn't become like my pain, it becomes the pain, our pain. Like, oh my God, you feel that way too. Like, one of the main core things you may find in this practice is that it's not just that we say no to how we're feeling. We shoot ourselves with a second arrow of, and I'm bad and wrong for feeling this way. Something's wrong with me. And so when you're able to share that with someone and someone's like, me too, there's that empathy, there's that connection, there's that true belonging that can happen. So I highly recommend sharing this with anyone and everyone that you love. Why not? Like, why freaking not? Like, now is the time to just do and say and be all the things that you want to. And if you desire deeper support during this time, reach out to me. I am opening my calendar, opening my heart for one-on-one coaching, and I'm also creating lots of stuff behind the scenes as far as workshops and opportunities for us to come together as a collective and to heal this planet and to come out the other side of this thing more connected and compassionate and caring and loving. Ah! All right, everyone, sending you lots of love on this journey. Mwah.